Mediation is a process where you and your lawyer meet together with the other side and their lawyer in the office of a third lawyer who's trained in helping you reach agreements that over the course of a half a day or maybe multiple days can work through your case to get a total resolution to your case. So rather than having to try your case in front of a judge, both sides can come together and work to get an agreement. It may be scary to you because you think, I don't want to sit down in the room with that person. I don't like them. I don't want to see their ugly face. Well, you may not actually have to sit down in the room with them, but you're going to be in the same office. You'll have your little camp over here. They'll have their little camp over there. And that mediator will go back and forth over the course of your mediation, taking one offer to the other offer. The great thing about a trained and experienced mediator, the reason they're mediating cases is because they have a long history, usually decades, of trying cases in that county. And that's a really important thing. So they can give you advice about exactly what this judge is likely to do. I had a case recently where we were mediating in one county with a mediator from that county, but my office, we had a lot of cases in this other county where the case was pending, and we knew that those judges will never do a certain thing. They just, as their practice, they do not. The mediator didn't know that. The other lawyer didn't know that. And so we did not reach an agreement that day in that case because I could tell my client, this judge is not going to do this. So you've got to have a lawyer who knows what they're doing, but you also need to have a mediator who is experienced in trying cases in the court and in the county where your case is pending. That's a very important part of it because over the course of your mediation, you're really going to work to get to an agreement so that at the end of the day, when you leave that mediation, you know exactly what your custody order or your final decree of divorce is going to look like rather than taking the risk of being in front of a judge and trying a case where you give up all control. So mediation is a fantastic opportunity for you to reach an agreement that you can live with, even if you don't love it. Litigation is where you're actually going to court. You actually litigate or try your case in front of a judge. That's where there's going to be witnesses. There's going to be testimony offered to the court. There's going to be evidence presented in a courtroom. Litigation is a lengthy and sometimes an expensive process. Mediation is different than that because in mediation, yes, we're still going to do all the background work. We're still going to build your documents. We're still going to get your evidence together. So the mediator knows if we had to try the case, this is what we're going to present to the court, which is why it's important for our team to work with you to build all your evidence, whether we're litigating or mediating a case. We're able to prepare your case so the mediator knows what you've got, what you're willing to use, and what you want to do in the end. Those things will help your mediator reach an agreement in your case. But sometimes you have to litigate. You got to fight it out. We love to litigate cases. If I could spend all day of every day of my life in a courtroom asking witnesses questions, that would be the ideal thing for me. Most people will hate that. I love it. But litigation is a protracted and stressful process for a lot of people. So that's why mediation can be really preferred because even though you may have to give a little to get a little, you're probably going to be more happy with the agreement you reach than you are in the end of your case when the judge makes a decision that you have no control over. Because our office may spend a year working with you. We know you. We know everything that's going on in your life. The other lawyer, they're going to know their side and everything that's going on in that person's life. The judge might spend 4 or 6 hours with you to hear limited information and then make a decision that affects the rest of your life. That's a scary thing. That's why mediation can be much better for you because it gives you control over your life. You might wonder, are there cost differences between mediating a divorce or litigating a divorce? All kind of costs you should look at. One is going to be the cost of your time and the stress that you put into a case. If you mediate a divorce, it can get done in a much shorter time frame than you have to fight it out with the other side in court over multiple hearings, and then you get continuances filed with the other side. Maybe somebody gets sick, maybe somebody goes on vacation, and then you get into the summer break or into Christmas and things happen to delay your case. A lot of costs you might have to consider in a mediation or just the value of getting your case done. But even in your attorney's fees, a lot of times a person can save money by mediating versus litigating a case because, again, the time that's involved there. If you shorten the time frame by months or years, obviously it's going to be a lot less cost. But even if you had a flat fee you paid your attorney, court costs can be different in the end, not the initial court cost you file, but if you go to trial, you're going to have to subpoena witnesses. You're going to have to subpoena documents. You're going to have to maybe pay a process server, an investigator to continue working your case. There can be a lot of financial advantages to mediating your case versus litigating your case. There are times that mediation might just not be an option in your case. Now you think we always should have an option. We always should try to settle it. And yes, that's true. You always should try to get an agreement in your case if it's possible. But there are times when the other side is so unreasonable, or you have so much on your side that you want to make sure goes to the court, and the other side is never going to give anything in proportion to what you know you've got and what you know you can prove to the court. There are times that mediation just is not, I wouldn't say not possible, but just not workable because you're going to have expense involved in mediation because it could cost $500 to $1,000 to $2,500 for the mediator's fees. And if you know it's totally ineffective and there's a waste of your time because your spouse is never going to come over to your side, unless you're ordered by the court to do that, you may choose not to mediate your case because you know there's zero chance of settlement in your case, and you'd rather just take your chance with the judge. If you're wondering, should I mediate my case? Should I litigate my case? Do we need to fight it out? Do we need to settle? One of the best things you can do is call our office right now, set up a time where we can talk through your situation and help you decide if you want to mediate your case or litigate it.